President Obama identified ISIS in his speech last night as a terrorist threat that needs to be, quote, degraded and ultimately destroyed. Joining me with some insight into ISIS and extremism are my guest, Hanif Mohibi, with the local chapter of the Council on American Islamic Relations, or CAIR, and Rick Epps, a Middle East political and international security expert and lecturer at SDSU. Welcome back.
Thank you very much.
No, Rick, with today being the anniversary of the 9/11 attacks, it comes to mind Al-Qaeda. If you can tell us, how does Al-Qaeda basically compare to ISIS as far as terrorist groups?
Al-Qaeda is the founding father, if you would, of this group of ISIS or ISIL, depending on how you want to interpret it. This group is, however, much more dangerous because it's better funded. It has better access to weapons. It has an infrastructure that's in place, and the philosophy and then the reach that it has is much greater than you see in Al-Qaeda.
Where is their money coming from? I've heard that many times they're well funded.
Yeah, well, some of the money is coming from other states that have access. They've also, some of the money now is coming from the oil revenue. They've got black market oil that they're selling. They're estimating they're probably getting about, I think it's about $1 million a day that they're gaining right now.
That is a lot of money. Hanif, what is your reaction to the president's plan for more U.S. airstrikes and military troops to the tune of almost 500, but not combat troops heading to the region?
So first and foremost, when it comes to Syria, I think it is the right decision. It should have been done a few years back. Definitely good on that. We just need to question the strategy. If we were to take action in Syria, how would that be done? In regards to Iraq, though, it is much more complicated. So we need to be very careful because we have a Sunni population that has been persecuted for many years. The government is very sect-oriented, and we want to make sure that we just don't go and essentially advise them to start killing. We need a much more comprehensive strategy for that.
And we certainly will want to figure that out probably in another discussion. But the president clearly stated, Hanif, that ISIS was neither a Muslim, an Islamic group, nor were they a state. Why do you think that's important, and how does that resonate here with the Muslim community in San Diego?
Well, two things. Number one, it is absolutely important for us to make sure that we don't become a PR firm for them and connect them to Islam, because the moment you connect this terrorist group to Islam, it essentially somehow gives it legitimacy for those people who do not have the proper understanding. So that is very great. And the president also did not connect this group to any specific ethnicity or sect or a specific group, which is really good for us.
And Rick, President Obama has not addressed the question of why. Why are groups like ISIS or these extremist groups expanding and proliferating? What do you think is some of the root causes for ISIS and maybe this expansion of extremism?
Well, I think there's a multifaceted. This is the big question, obviously. But the short answer would be you have, obviously, economically dispossessed people, lack of education. You have, anytime you have a political and social vacuum like you have in the wake of the post-Iraq war, you have the ripe and easy fuel of radical Islamic, some of the leadership within the Islamic groups, some of these radical Islamic groups that are able to buy loyalty much more than actually bring loyalty. I think a lot of people, even with Al-Qaeda, I would say to you that people join because they're afraid or because they pay them, and that the loyalty, some of it's really not really protracted real loyalty. It's loyalty because you're afraid for your life. And but it's easy to bring, especially young people, it's easy to sway them into the belief system, and they use religion as a basis for it, even though this group is not at all related to true Islam.
And Hanif, what do you think?
Specifically in Iraq, Rick, there's a large Sunni community which essentially, if they don't agree with ISIS, they will kill them. So on one side, the government is oppressing them. On the other side, ISIS is oppressing them. I want to also mention that the root cause needs to be dealt with, and that is our counterproductive policies that are unjust, and we need to fix that in order to move forward.
And as you said, very big discussions we're trying to get in 5 minutes here, and I'll have to end on this. Hanif, I'll start with you. If ISIS had not basically aired the video of the 2 American journalists and their beheadings, do you think that the U.S. would be launching this type of attack on them or strategy on them?
I think there is definitely a public pressure, or at least the government was put on a position where they had to act sooner than later. That's definitely the issue.
And Rick, how about you?
I think it would have happened. I think it may not have happened as soon as it had, but I think ultimately it needed to happen. And I think in some ways, this may sound strange, I think I'm actually glad it happened, because now it puts us on notice to let the American people know this is an action that we can't afford to let this grow, because it's growing.
Okay, and we do have to end it there. Rick Epps and Hanif Mohabi, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Good
much.
to be here.